In time, get in line. Don't play mad, we want back Trinidad. Put them out, get them out. Don't play mad, for 10 years we had it hard.
It's time for we to rise up again. We say hello, we say go. Too many years we've been suffering. We say hello, we say go. Yellow is the good, yellow is the good. Put your ex body right in sun. Yellow is the good, yellow is the good. You and city chosen ones. Yellow is the good, yellow is the good. Roll it to one, feel we dumb. When you and see win,
Everybody win. Come meet them.
Okay, good evening, Trinidad and Tobago and around the globe. This is Real Talk Corner on this beautiful Sunday evening on the 20th day in the month of April in the year 2025. And what a time it is in Trinidad and Tobago. The election fever. Woo, it's burning up, but we are getting ready to vote them out. They have had almost 10 years of struggle for some, health, wealth, goodness for some others, but we know what we are facing. The people on the ground, they know what they are feeling, and they are going to make the decision on the 28th of April to do what is right for themselves. With me this evening is my co-host, and she looks as beautiful and bubbly as ever, and it's no other person than Hadassah Charles-McLeod. Hi, Hadassah. What's up, girl?
Hi, Esther. You yourself looking like the rising sun. Good evening,
Yes.
Trinidad and Tobago. How is everybody feeling? I hope everybody is feeling happy and excited and energized. I mean to say, if I could feel this excited every single day, I would want nothing else. This is such an amazing feeling, So, like Esther say, we are 8 days out from the election that I think will be a very pivotal moment in the political history of this country. And the ground is shaking, the ground is rumbling. People are ready. Like, when you're watching horse racing and how the horses just be like before they open the gates, that is how it is. It is really, really, really exciting. And I don't understand what is all this beating up and fighting up like a cockroach that you spray with bop, right? I find the PNM should just die quietly in their
Quietly.
bed. It's a
Hmm.
better death. Stop it. Stop fighting up. Let the inevitable happen. Let that take you because it is over. It is over. And we are just here tonight to talk about some of the things that have been happening as we observe all the political antics and all the stops that they have been pulling out to shed a negative light on the United National Congress or to speak negatively about the party and things like that. And it really is dead man walking. And I feel like maybe they think they shouldn't just give up without a fight. But even the polls that are being conducted by Guardian Media, which they are in PNM's pockets, even they cannot deny the overwhelming response of people who are saying we are tired, we are fed up of PNM, and it is time to vote them out. So I hope you guys would be happy to spend the next hour, hour and a half with us. Please share the live. Please leave your comments. Please let us know that you're here and you're enjoying the show because we are doing it for you. Back to you, Esther.
Yes, people, let us know that you're enjoying the show. Let us know how you feel about the season that we are in right now. Are you feeling the excitement? Are you feeling the vibes of change? I have to say that the code is yellow everywhere I go. Of course, you have the others on the other side, saying what they have to say, but we ain't buying no votes. The votes come in because people fed up. People are making the change because they are fed up of all that the PNM has done to us and now taking us for granted and talking about what they are going to do. I have, some clips that we would share because I want you to see and I want you to understand. Now, remember, this is Real Talk Corner and we are in the election season, right? So we want to be real with you all. We want you to understand why this change is inevitable, why we have to make a change. We cannot continue with the PNM. Now, waiter, some people think that, okay, the PNM and the UNC is the same. We are not the same. You see, I have on my yellow. It is not the same as red. I have nothing red in front of me. But the truth is, those other pop-up parties or little parties who have been around but haven't really been saying anything or really doing anything. What they're really doing is going to try to manipulate a situation where they get some votes. None of them, I say, none of them going to win a seat. Okay? But they're going to get some vote. But at the end of the day, yellow is the code. Yellow is the code. And let us be real people. There are some things that has been said. And it's according to Hadassah, while we were speaking earlier, it's not as though we were not aware. When Foster Cummins come out his shell to talk about what they did with the EBC, all along we knew that the PNM is the one who controls the EBC and what takes place. This is why the United National Congress has been asking for international observers because the PNM is a set of bullies in every facet, in every aspect of the election process. They take charge, they do what they want. This is why we have to be very vigilant, especially our polling agents. You all cannot go and sit down there and fall asleep. You have to look at everything. You've got to be alert as to what is happening in your polling station because, hey, people say the PNM don't want to win. Maybe so, but they're fighting a nasty, dirty, evil game, and we have to be aware of it. Yes, we got to pray. Yes, we got to put God in front and follow behind. Our leader always say that. Put God in front of every decision that we want to make. But I'm telling you, God expects us to do the right thing, to be vigilant, to be watchful, and to ensure that we got this covered because we don't fight election nasty and dirty like PNM. We don't. We go in there because we believe everybody has a choice to make. Everybody needs to decide what they want. If the red worked for you and you are happy and you got everything in the last 10 years and now you could relax and you could just continue to do what you have to do and you want to vote for them, go right ahead. But for those of you who did not receive anything, those of you who have been suffering, those of you who didn't get any justice, those of you who just feeling the brunt of the wickedness of this government, hello, yellow is the code. And I want to remind
Indeed.
us of one thing, Hadassah, before you come back. Remember during the COVID-19 pandemic, and this could never leave me. And I know, Hadassah, you were privy to being in the mix of it. Every country was receiving their citizens, and this could never leave me. I could never get over it. I am thankful that I was not out of the country. Every other country was receiving their own citizens, except for Trinidad. And who was the person in charge? The very Stuart Young, who is now the
Very
Prime
sure. Yeah.
Minister and talking
Yes.
a set of nonsense.
Yes.
Listen,
Yes.
Barbados, the Bajans are the ones who
Yes.
accepted our citizens. Oh my God, it
Yes.
is so
Yes.
shameful. It was painful for a lot of
Beautiful.
people, and those who were
Yes.
not there were still in America and had to suffer. Thank God for those who knew how to do something while they were there. You probably break the law because if you had to work to finance yourself, and you didn't have a visa for working, it would have been against the American policies. But that is one of the things that I have a serious problem with. If Stuart Young and they didn't care about their citizens to bring their own citizens home, but allow other people to come into our country, that alone speaks volume. What are we going to do? Continue to have
Hmm.
these people to control our government? Governance? No, no, no. No, No, I am totally displeased with that. That is only one. Eh? We have so much more to talk about tonight.
Esther, I am so happy that you raised that point because it is one of the uh, most motivating reasons for me to give my vote to somebody else this time. And I feel like a lot of people could be very unreasonable sometimes, talking from personal experience, where
Yeah.
it takes a lot of courage to say, I am not doing what my family has done for generations. It takes a lot of courage to be the one to stand up and say, no, if something is not working for you, that you're going to change it. This has been my personal experience. But what I experienced during the pandemic broke my spirit as a citizen. I remember writing countless letters to the Ministry of National Security, headed up by that time by Stuart Young, begging and pleading to come home, right? I remember asking and telling them all the reasons why and how I've been out here by myself and I'm isolated and I have no money and things like that. And being rejected and not being allowed to come in. And then you're seeing the Syrians and the 1% flying in and out of the country, right? I remember how that made me feel. I was so angry. I felt so isolated. And on top of that, too, the election was in August of 2020. And I could not come home to exercise my franchise. I could not be allowed to come home to vote. And it was not me alone, it was a lot of people were locked out of the process of being able to dip their finger for somebody who they wanted elected. And that will
Yes.
never, ever, ever leave me. The betrayal I felt as a citizen. And my best friend was here in Trinidad calling the Ministry of National Security on my behalf, day in, day out, day in, day out, right? Until she lost her mind on one of the persons who answered the phone. And she said, look, my friend has been out there for months and you all are being very lackadaisical about it. And the lady just casually said, what is she name? And pulled up a file and recognized that I asked several times. And then she casually told my friend, okay, I go push you on the next flight. And y'all could not do that before, right? And then when I came home now, I had to shell out thousands of dollars that I did not have to isolate at the Cape Park Hotel because you were not allowed to just come in, you had to quarantine, right? And I will never forget any of this and how that broke my spirit. And people talk about these things
Hmm.
happen all over the world, and Trinidad is the only country that treated their their,
The
their
citizens.
citizens with such disdain, with such
Yes.
lack of care at one of the scariest moments. People were so unsure. The way I was staying in New Jersey, my friend, her mother died. She wasn't even allowed to come home to bury her mother. Right? These are the things that people have had to endure. Right? There's something else that I wanted to make note of, right? The PNM is fighting a very nasty battle, right? And I have always said that if you, as a government, did what you were supposed to do during your term, meaning that you made sure that your citizens were provided for, that they were safe, that you stewarded the economy in a way that everybody could have access to a better life, that there were opportunities, that education was working, that people had lights and food and water. If you do what you are supposed to do, there's no reason to come and campaign and tell lies on the other party. The PNM is not campaigning based on performance. The PNM
Mm-mm.
is only pointing fingers and they are leading a campaign of fear. They are telling people if you vote for UNC, they are going to deflate the dollar. They are going to do this. They're going to do that. That is all they're doing. But why can't you say what you have done, Stuart Young? Stuart Young said, we have been there for 9 years, defending Trinidad and getting experience. If I was in a job for 9 years getting experience, then I don't deserve that job. If after 1 month in a job you cannot find your footing, that you don't have an understanding of what is required to do the job, then you do not deserve that job. And that is all I will say, right? They cannot even point to the things that they have done to make people's lives better, to make living in Trinidad more bearable, to contribute to people's happiness and their pursuit of their goals and their dreams living in this country. They have nothing to say about that. And all of a sudden, they are giving out houses, and nurses get a salary increase, and tutor get 5% increase in salary, and all of a sudden they're making 50,000 US dollars available to small and medium enterprises. They know the things that needed to be done, and they have not done it. What does that say? What does that
Same
say?
rhetoric. Same
Isn't
rhetoric.
that the
Same rhetoric.
mentality of a psychopath? Isn't that the mentality of an abusive
Same
person?
rhetoric.
We are not
Listen,
falling for that this
no, not this
year.
time around.
That's all I will
And
say.
the citizens need to understand it's the same thing over and over with the PNM. They make you suffer, they abuse you to the core, and then at the last moment, they come and pave road, they come and they give you money. Listen, they come and they give you job, all the things you needed that they didn't give to you. They give you 2 weeks, 1 month or 2 weeks to a week before the election. And it lasts only for how long? If they keep it up for 6 weeks, it's plenty. And then you go back to the same old, same old. And if Trinidadians, especially the African brothers and sisters, who they treat you all like nobody, like this, they treat you all worse than their own dogs in the kennel at home. And then they come for your vote and you give it to them. Crap or smoke all your pipe, or you're eating the bread the devil need and he don't need. I am telling you all need to wake up, Africans, and I'm seeing it, my African brothers and sisters, they're waking up, but I'm wondering if much of them are really waking up. All you wake up and smell the coffee. The PNM is not good for this country at this point in time. We cannot give the PNM another chance. They're walking and asking for another chance to do what? You all had 10 years to make it right, and up to this present day, you are still pointing fingers at the UNC. Now, listen to this clip. I want us all to listen to the BS that Tiotiong was talking. Listen.
The experience, we are out there, we have heard the cries and people asking, well, you were there for 9 years, why you didn't do it? In those 9 years, we were defending Trinidad. In those 9 years, we were getting the experience. The experience, we are out there fighting, we are building new programs. We have a stable...
So tell me something. For 9 years, they were defending Trinidad, and all you left the citizens outside and had them suffering. That was an experience to gain. Come on. Then you're not supposed to be there. Which job you get? On-job training for 9 years as governing this country. Then all you needed to go a long time. I don't know why Trinidadians give them another 5 years. Listen, when the UNC came into power, they didn't even give UNC a good 5 years. Everybody was complaining and ready to vote them out when Rowley came with this stupid talk about email gate and all this nonsense. UNC wasn't defending Trinidad like that. UNC was doing things for the people on the ground, doing things for the mothers, doing things for the children. UNC gave the laptop. There were free books. There were water in your taps. Listen, Trinidad and Tobago citizens, if you all haven't learned your lesson yet, I don't know if it will take a next 100 years for you to learn all your lessons, that the PNM is an abusive government. They are bullying government, not only with Stuart Young, since long time ago, especially under Keith Rowley. They are abusive, and African people wake up, because it is not an African party. This is why I don't believe in the race cards. Because let me say this, under the PNM, check how much Indian people are there as well. So it's not no race thing. The UNC have Africans, PNM have African. The UNC base is Indian, PNM have Indians too. But how do they address the African needs in this country? They don't address us because you know why? They see us like crab in a bucket, always pulling at one another. We have no unity. And the day we get unity and stand together, every party that goes up there is going to treat us different. But they will not until we start to have respect for ourselves, respect for one another, love for ourselves, love for one another, and stand together. Anytime we as the African community can do that, every party that goes there will have respect for us. But they have none because you know what? They could put the Lord, what I want to say, I can't say it. Push the shit down in our throat and we swallow it and say, yes, it isn't good. It's time we stop that nonsense. It's time we wake up. Some of us are waking up, but much more need to wake up. If the UNC go there and they didn't do right, we're going to vote them out the same way. But I guarantee you, under Kamala Prasad Bisesa, I know that the UNC is going to fulfill all the things that they said they're going to do. And Hadassah, you said it right. When they campaign in the PNM, what are they saying they're going to do? He talk about security, a command center. I heard of that for years. Okay?
Yes.
They have never done it. They just only make promises, promises after promises, and they never hold fast to it. But you see, when Kamala Prasad Bisesa make promise to us, she holds fast to it. Remember the baby grants? Remember the social welfare department, how much was done? The pensioners. Listen, stop being ungrateful, Trinidad and Tobago. When UNC under the coalition was there, under Kamala Prasad Bisesa leadership, much happened for you. And you're hearing people saying it, when Auntie Cams was there, they fear better. Well, hear what? You would fear even much more better. All you need to give us 40 seats. That's what all you need to do. Get
Oh
out
my
there. Let
God.
PNM get one seat, if any at all. Get out there and vote. Teach them a lesson. Teach the PNM a lesson. Teach Foster Cummins and Stuart Young and all the rest of them. Teach them a lesson. If you all don't want to do that, well, I don't know. But I want us to teach them a lesson. Let them know who have the authority. When they're there, they talk down to us. They make us feel we're nobody. They leave the citizens out. Just imagine that this is our country of birth, and you have to be in another man's country, and your government is telling you you can't come. And when they did make you come, they didn't care how much you suffer. You have to find money to quarantine. This is the worst government I've ever experienced in my 56 years of living on this earth. Is the worst I've ever experienced. So let's vote them out.
Well said, Esther. I mean, it is so reminiscent of an abusive man, right? Because he will tell you that you're worthless and nobody would love me nobody would love you like I love you while he beating you and kicking you,
Mm-hmm.
right? That is exactly what the PNM does, right?
Yes,
Because
yes,
somebody had the audacity to say, be vexed with the PNM, but don't put God out to your thought and vote for UNC. What
that's
madness is
Foster
that?
Cummins. Yeah, that's the same
What
Foster Cummins. Get
madness
X, but vote
is
the
that?
PNM.
Yeah,
Hey,
and all they can do is lie because surprisingly, they have some secret internal poll that shows that the PNM is ahead in Tobago. Tobagonians are not
uh-huh,
stupid.
at all.
The Tobagonians have gotten rid of PNM and they will never go back. Don't insult
Never.
Tobagonians like that, right? And we already know that the polls are showing that we are ahead in Trinidad. So we need to keep it that way. And everybody needs to be vigilant. And if Esther would allow me, I want to talk a little bit about having a plan for voting day, right? It
Come
is
on.
very, very important that I think it is actually really good advice that people should stay home from that day. Don't go to
I
work,
agree.
get up early, you get up early and take yourself to the polls and cast your vote. And when you are finished, you're going to spend the rest of the day getting your family there, getting your neighbors there, anybody who you see, ask them if you vote, you in vote, come let me give you a drop, get your ID card,
Mm-hmm.
we are going. Right? It is
That's right.
very, very important. important. You get a lot of information. You can put people's name, first name, last name, their date of birth in the ebctt.com website. It will tell you
Yes,
exactly where your polling station is.
exactly. Yes.
Drop people off to their
Mm-hmm.
polling station. Let people vote. Let people take part in the electoral process. Don't let your
That's
rights
right.
be infringed. It is important that you evangelize and you take yourself and your family and your friends and your neighbors to vote. This is imperative because we want that the PNM, they're beaten so badly that the landslide is so far that there is
Yes,
no doubt in anybody's mind that there would be no recounting of votes, that there would be no mischief, because we know that they have intentions, as they have admitted, to stealing elections in the past and manipulating the EBC and manipulating votes. We know that is their intention. So you have to make sure that the gap is so wide that no matter what
yes,
they do, there's no way there's no way to bridge it, right? We have to be responsible and we have to be vigilant. It is not enough. Like me, whenever the UNC truck pass in this area, my dog knows that that is an occasion because we get excited and we run downstairs, and I cannot say that I behave well. No, right? But that is not all of it, right? That is not all of it. You have to make sure that you do the deed on
yes.
election day. Go
That's
early.
right.
Don't take any chances. Don't say you're going here
Mm-hmm.
and there and you have this to do and you have to do after you take the day off from work and get stuck in a traffic and you don't make it to the polls by 6 p.m. when they close. Don't be caught with your pants down. All right?
Don't,
That's all I will
don't,
say for now.
don't. I agree with you and I want to endorse it. Okay? Our political leaders say that take the day off. Listen, get up, take a shower, pray, ask God to guide you and protect you, and get to the polls, people. Let it be your first and only priority on the 28th, Monday, the 28th of April. Get out there and cast your vote. Then go back home, relax, or do anything else you want to do after that. But let that be. Don't say, I go in for 10 o'clock and I go in after lunch. No. Let it be the first thing after you wake up. Give God thanks and take a shower and refresh yourself. Put on some good music and energize yourself and hit the polls. Trinidad and Tobago. And yellow is the code. I don't care what none of them say. Yellow is the code in my book. If you don't feel so, well, you do what you have to do. If red is the code for you, you can lie down and sleep late if you want. But for those of us, as long as yellow is the code, get up and go because you know how the red, the PNM does manipulate the whole scenario. They just extend time and all kind of stuff behind our backs. We're not taking chances this time around. They have had two
Exactly, Nick.
terms.
Yes.
They have had 2 terms.
Yes. Exactly. Nick
We don't want to
Jaikaran
hear
is
no more.
asking, where are the international observers?
Well, you know what Stuart Young said? Didn't he say they're coming on the 21st? It's supposed to be the
We
21st or
have,
the 22nd, I heard. Well, tomorrow is the 21st. So let's see. We are supposed to be aware and we need the international observers because based on
yes.
what Foster Cummins said, and I don't know, I think the clip is there for my producer to pull it up. Them in control, we always knew that they were running the show with EBC. We knew that. And I pray God when our boss lady Kamala Prasad Bisesa come in, we make changes to the laws for the EBC because they're
Yes.
not independent. EBC is not an
Yes.
independent
It's
establishment.
not.
It is controlled
Mr.
by the
Producer,
PNM.
can we have that clip, please?
Yes, if we can have
In
that clip
here, what
with
Foster
the lady,
Cummins was
yes.
saying, he gone up in front thousands of people saying like he have control, basically saying he have control over the EBC, you know.
We just decided to play with them and we start to send out the results from their polling stations first. Oh gosh, fat willy willy, they start to get on the place.
What? So wait. Wait. Somebody need to come and come. We need some answers here because he went up and said, you know, they know what we saying, you know. He went up. So
That's right.
basically we don't have no say then. whatever them feel to do and however they feel to do it, that's how it goes. But you know what? You know what? God is in control. He know we want change. And we fed up our PNM. 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 And we really
We
want
fed up.
change. Right? And
Yes.
then Paul, don't do the right thing. I'm gonna tell you something. We really need to go down with some prayers, for this country, You're trying to tell me you have control over the EBC? Nevertheless, yellow is the code.
Willie.
And if
He was in
children,
control.
then
Hmm.
only do the right thing.
Well, she bring the point home.
She brought it home.
Lyndon Mack is asking if he can join us. I told him we have a new system. I don't know if it will be possible.
I don't think it's like that. Like, we can't do it like that
Yeah,
anymore, Linda. It has to be
we had it
planned, and our
before.
producer, it's different. It's different.
Yeah.
You can send a comment, and maybe you could join us next week Sunday, Mark, because we're going to be on next week Sunday. Right now is every week we on, because listen, we need to let the people know it's not going to work like that. I don't know if Hadassah will be able to do a night in this week, as the election is right
Mhm.
around the corner, maybe a night in this week, and then we're going to be on Sunday. But we just want people to understand how serious. I am not going to tell anybody and fool anybody and say UNC have everything together. Do we have everything together in our personal life, as family, as a personal, individual person? We never have every single thing together. But what is
Yes.
better for Trinidad and Tobago is definitely not the PNM. I
Yeah.
am not going to say that Bed of Roses with UNC. We have challenges. We have issues that we have to deal with within the party, and all of that. Everybody want to talk with UNC business. UNC business is UNC business, and we will deal with it accordingly. And for all of those who were part of the UNC and coming out, people like Victor and all of them to talk nonsense, but what code? Yellow is the code. If you didn't know, Victor, yellow is the code. So whatever
Shots
grievances all you
fired.
have at this point in time, all you go with it, but leave people alone. The African community who have been said that the PNM stands for, they are fed up of the PNM, because the truth is the PNM ain't do nothing for us as African people. I heard another woman on Facebook saying she don't even care because she worked for everything she have. And of course, we all have to work for what we have. But if no policies is put in place to help us to do what it is we need to make life easier for us, to have business doing easier for us, then what? We need to get them out. We need
I
to
mean,
vote them out.
very well said. Because I, like that woman, I can't say that the government ever give me anything. But I do want other things to work. Right? I feel like it is not unreasonable to live in a community for more than 10 years and not have water problems, and then all of a sudden have water problems, which has been my experience. How is it that you could be doing something for an extended period of time and get worse at it? Right? So I don't know what experience Stuart Young is talking about, but they are getting worse. Right? But
That's
I
right.
do want to say something. I feel like we need to give Jack his jacket. And I want to talk about the level of conversation that is taking
Okay,
place in
hold
the
on.
country.
Hold on. Hold your thoughts. The link was sent to Lyndon. My producer sent the link to Lyndon. So,
Okay.
Lyndon, if he's listening, he can join in. Okay?
All right. Okay.
Yes.
Because you could also always have David send it to me. Oh, he's on. Right.
All right.
Welcome, Lyndon. So the
Welcome,
level of
Lyndon.
conversation.
Hmm.
So they're having a whole party. I see you wondering, where's my tickets? Good evening, all again.
You need to be here. I know you're in Tobago, but you need to be here.
Oh
Get
my
on the
gosh,
vibes, Lyndon.
I am having so much issues right now. I'm trying to finalize with some, international transactions. But I am looking on your conversation, and I really hope people go out to the polls on the 28th. And yes, we telling people stay home from work today. Actually, 28th must be the day that actually the whole action and that must shut down. Nobody must go out to
Yes,
work on that day. That day is a day only for voting. There were caught in no crossfire of where you had to be commuting late and you can't get to the polls
Get your
early.
doubles after
that's
your
right.
vote, right?
But what was very interesting, I've been listening on the conversation, especially for this man who has been saying that they have done the work and they have defended Trinidad and Tobago. And I find that
Sure.
so ironic. But most
Yes,
importantly, my real question to Trinidad and Tobagonians is when these politicians speak, is it that we do not question the information that they are bringing forward to the public? Because you have been saying that we have been defending Trinidad and Tobago, yet we have over 5,000 murders in Trinidad and Tobago. Nobody could say they feel more safer in this country, regardless if
No.
they're red, they're yellow. They know they don't feel safe. Because we have a country right now, the whole police system is defunct. We have a court
yeah.
system that is more backed up than
Mm-hmm.
anything. And you have an attorney general office that is doing nothing, absolutely nothing to remedy the situation. So,
Yeah.
when he says they have been defending Trinidad and Tobago, my question is how? Under their
How?
9 years,
Yes.
we have seen the most highest murder statistics in the country has ever faced. It literally shows that their 9-year plan has done nothing. But
Yes.
what I really had to laugh today is the article I saw from The Guardian that said that the PNM is ahead in Tobago by the polls. My
Never.
question to Guardian Media is, and I had to ask the machinery, the
Because they're
PNM
trying
oil
to save
machinery.
face.
It's
Well,
propaganda, Linda.
you know,
That
you
is the
know, I,
PNM propaganda.
you know,
That
I,
is the
um, I,
PNM propaganda. Come on. They have
I
to do that.
laughed. Can I just say, I laughed this morning when I read that because I'm saying there is nowhere in hell you would have run a poll. And my question to Guardian Media is I have a few questions. What time to what time will these polls run? Who
Yes.
conducted those polls? How many people voted in these polls from the time that you held these polls? Because I live in Tobago. I never once did a
They
poll. I am on
interview the
social media
only two
literally.
PNMites left in Tobago. That's what happened.
And this is the most ironic thing. Just recently, Guardian Media also put out information saying that the two AI the two expert AI persons confirmed that there's a present conversation between the Tobago Chief Secretary and Kamala Prasad Bissessa. We know how to challenge him on the information. And I'm saying,
Yes.
when you have uncredible media, and I have to call them uncredible. When you have uncredible media houses like this in the public space, I am saying they must not get another sale in Trinidad and Tobago. They must not get
That's
another
right.
sale in Trinidad and Tobago because they are
That's right.
uncredible, very uncredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, nobody must
Agreed.
buy the
But
papers.
Lyndon,
Nobody must buy the papers.
but Lyndon, that is why they
That's
are
right.
doing it because they know the gravy train coming to an end, and they will do
Mm.
whatever they think they need to do to push PNM over the edge. But it is too far gone.
Exactly. It's too late in the night. They could come with what they want. You all remember when the partnership was there? You all remember email gate? This is PNM propaganda. They
Yes.
always come with all these foolishness to get people thinking, "Oh gosh, I wonder if we're doing the right thing. Should I vote for the UNC or vote for the PNM?" That is what it is, but we're voting for the UNC. We're not voting for the PNM. They're not
I
going to the
remember.
crowds and the meetings. All the
I
meetings
rem-
is yellow is the code.
I remember a conversation between Keith Christopher Rowley and Colum Imbert, and they stood on a platform addressing members of the media, and a particular question was asked surrounding two issues: petrochin
Hmm.
Huh.
and the issue of property tax.
Take a drink for that.
Hmm.
And and the Prime Minister at the time said, "Let me address that question." and went on
Wow.
to tell persons that anybody who tells you that the government is going to bring back the mighty dread property tax is lying to
They're
you.
making mischief.
On
Yes.
that
Okay.
platform, they indicated by saying that the property tax is already taken care of. They also
Yes,
went
I
on
recall
the
that.
narrative by saying that the government is not closing down Petrotrin.
Well, now they're saying they never did
Nine
it.
On
years later, 9 years later, this same
Yes.
Stuart Young is on a pulpit making claims that says the
Never.
government had reasons and they never shut down Petrochin. And it
Mm.
really had me wondering, is it that a lot of people just make these outlandish claims when they know that we are in the day of information, and we could pull up your videos where you have been
Yes.
saying to the public that the
yes,
Yes.
government is
yes.
not closing down Petrochin? It
Yes.
baffles
Yes.
me.
Yes.
I
Lyndon,
don't
Yes.
the
think a lot of
leaders
these.
of the PNM, Lyndon, the leaders of the PNM are mentally disabled. Okay? The leaders of the PNM, they're mentally disabled. We can't see that. Why are we
But
even? But when people just need to get out there on April the 28th and vote yellow, let
I
Trinidad and,
feel,
well, Tobago is on a different, be a sea of yellow. That's all.
yeah,
The man say,
I
in
feel
case
like,
you was closing your fridge and you didn't hear me, I saying it again.
The government.
Petrol train is not being closed down. Eh?
oh wow.
No, they say
I
no,
feel
no
like,
tax. Oh
no,
gosh,
Esther.
what we
I
want
feel like
again?
no, we need to give ourselves a pat on the back because it is because of shows like this and activists like Lyndon Mack and people who have been having conversations in and out of election seasons why the population is so much more critically minded this election because the level of
Yes.
conversation has raised. This is one of the first elections where I am actually seeing Trinidadians deciding who they are voting for based on policy. The PNM could continue to beat up with their race nonsense, but everybody else is saying, my life was better under Kamala. No, 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 no. The economy, this, that. This is what they want. People are actually voting because they believe they will get better governance under UNC. And that
But
is
Hadassah,
amazing that we have reached here.
Hadassah, in nine
Yeah,
years, you know what, what,
yeah,
what, what is really shocking? In 9 years, and I want to touch the 9 year issue, and I want to touch my belief on a particular issue, the drug and gas deal. In nine
mm,
years, we have seen the way they mismanage this economy. 9 years.
yes,
We can say safely today in 2025, there is no entity under the government of Trinidad and Tobago, led by this Keith Christopher Rowley government, nor the
that
Stuart
is
Young
better.
government, has created any surplus for taxpayers in the way that they have done their spending. Nine
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
years from
yes,
all the assets that they own for state-owned companies. We have 4 or 5 commercial banks last year that sat in a meeting on the 14th of July in a Hyatt meeting bawling, saying they're having lack of forex. Now, sometime very recently, I saw another article that just came across some media entity that said forex boost, and I had to ask the question why. It was not until another economist who would have went on by saying that for the last umpteen years we have lost approximately what $25 billion in forex, and it is only then they came out to address the issue. So I'm saying, what are you going to do for another 5 years that you couldn't do in 10? But most importantly, let me say this to you all. Although get up, a lot of PNM people disgruntled. They are
yes,
disgruntled of
Of
the fact that
course, we
Keith
know.
Christopher Rowley pushed over Penelope Beckles, and I am
yes,
saying it another life, that he has
yes.
pushed over Penelope Beckles for Stuart
So
Young.
yes, to elevate
Because
short. Yes,
And I am saying that when you see things like this, it shows you we are feeding a culture now, and it has sent a direct message to young people. Not that you could work hard
Yes.
and then you're supposed to be able to benefit. But then if I have favors and I have favoritism,
Yes.
I can skip the ladder
Nepotism.
of process to the top.
Yes.
And I wonder
Yes.
if that's the message we really want to send to our
Yes.
young people versus
Yes.
telling them to go to
Yes.
school and
Mm-hmm.
work hard
Yes.
and build yourself
Yes.
so that when you are ready to lead, I am saying here, Ireland and Magdalene in this life, the people's all that you are seeing from the People's National Movement is a showboating. They are not interested in winning these elections. They have no plans in winning these elections. The then Prime Minister knew that drug and gas deal license was in jeopardy. He is on record telling the nation when he just came back from California, he said, and I quote, if all you wake up one morning and realize all you lose this drug and gas deal, all your cuckoo
You
cook,
cook, cook, cook.
the prime minister
Yes.
is on record saying that,
Yes,
and
that's
then
true.
Yes.
days later, we come to understand the drug and gas deal loss and another license deal they lost. Let me say this to you all. Governments don't just incur these punishments overnight. There are things that they
Yes.
are not saying. And I'm
They're
saying
not
the
saying to us.
honorable, yes, the opposition need to be writing to the Donald Trump administration to find out the real reasons why we lost the drug and gas deal versus to what they are not saying.
That's true. That's so true.
The thing about it is that even the way they were conducting the negotiations with Venezuela, I remember clearly when they came back from Venezuela and Stuart Young told the nation that things went well, and the media asked if they could disclose some of the things that they discussed, and he said that they were not in a position to disclose that information. And I at the time said, but you are acting on our behalf. How is it that
That's right.
we of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago cannot be privy to what is being discussed on our behalf? And since then, I was always very, very wary of what they were doing.
I want to say to
Yes,
you, when you hear people talk these narratives, know it's a load of BS. The
yes,
public purse is not a private squandermania.
that's right.
They are
Say that
not
again,
there
Mindon. Say it again. The
representing,
public
the,
will say it
the public
again.
purse is not
A
squandermania.
squander
The
mania. Thank
public
you.
purse that deals with the way you are spending taxpayers' money have a right to know every dollar that you spend, every penny that you
Yes,
spend. We have the right to know that. But I'm going to tell you the problem in Trinidad and Tobago. That parliament that we spend over $500 million, where they call the Red House, we have not been taking the time for MPs to go back to their constituencies and to consult with people in Trinidad and Tobago. So what we now have is a hijacked house where members of parliament are sitting in the house, not coming with the voting based on what the members of um of any constituency. We come in to vote based on party narrative. And that is the
Yes.
situation that seriously needs to change. And if it were me to do in the morning, this way, where we talk about three-fifths majority to vote on bills, that would have been asked in the morning. We would have gone back
yes,
to the part that says you are a lower house, you will make bills in a lower house. When you vote on it, it then goes to the upper house where there are senators that must be voted for by the people, not the prime minister,
Yes.
not somebody who is going to appoint you as senator, but people who are saying, I want this entity to represent me as senator in the House of Representatives. This is what we need. You have to put the power of the people back into the hands of the people who want to see things happen. This parliament for 9 years has been hijacked. It has not been functioning the way it's been functioning. And this is why we are
Yes.
saying today we are more in inflation. I'm saying we have not found a way to slash the bill. And if it were me in the
No.
morning, I'm going to say very harshly, where it comes to taxpayers' money and the public purse, one is either the people of Trinidad and Tobago make a choice. We cannot in 2025 afford a president and a prime minister. They will have to choose one. Choose one. because you cannot manage the economy. You have not grown the economy. And it is only
No.
a burden on taxpayers where you are spending 20 million plus in a president's office for a president that barely does bare minimum. That's the highest office
Yeah.
holder in the land. And
She
she
only
and
does
the
our their
office
bidding.
barely does bare minimum. But we're spending millions of dollars for expensive vehicles to just say, wow, you have a quasi ceremonial role. That makes no sense. If we are making
Agreed.
hard cuts have to
Hmm.
made by the people who are there. These 23 ministries that we have, where we have consultants working inside there, all of these things, we would have been making some hard cuts. Now, by the time we finish making those hard cuts, we should have been able to have a good close to half a billion, $2, $3 billion in order to find to put those resources where they need to be. This government can't talk that conversation because you have done nothing for 9 years in terms of managing.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay? We have
Yes.
ministries where there are consultants who don't can't say they're working 40 hours a week, but they're charging pound and
Yeah.
crown for a service that cannot say it has moved economy any direction. And that for me is ludicrous. It's ludicrous.
It is. Yes,
Total
yes,
ludicrous.
Lyndon. Thank you for that. You know, while you're talking, really and truly, if we are real with ourselves and all those persons who come to bad talk the UNC government and Kamala Prasad Bisesa with their BS, are they thinking most of them are not even living in this country? Okay, so they can sit where they are and talk their foolishness. The people in this country is feeling it. All the social programs that should be here for the man and woman on the ground to take care of their children has been deleted. The parents who have autistic children, special children, as the case may be, have the PNM gone to these parents and see what they're going through? Listen, they're crying out for help, and there is no
I,
help. How much hampers
I
you would
can
give to them?
I can tell you we have ministries that do not take serious roles and functions as to the way we are trying to guide the economy. I have seen
That's
the
right.
Ministry of Social Development and I have asked and wondered, what is your role and function as the Ministry of Social Development in Trinidad and Tobago? We are talking about impacting families in a very positive way where there is the measure of social support and putting in a social structure and a function that can help families to survive. When we talk about the Minister of the Ministry of Planning and Development, what exactly are you planning and what exactly are you developing? Is it that we just have ministries who have fancy names and conversations, but the citizens do not even know what are their policies to ensure that they are making any real transformation? And these are
Yeah.
questions citizens must really ask. Because in 9 years,
Yes.
I do not know. I honestly do not know what planning and development has done for the future planning and development of what, who, how, why, no, I do not know. Social development, I do not know. The Ministry of Sport, Youth Affairs, I do not know. All of these
Yeah.
ministries, in my humble opinion, are just running on autopilot, collecting a
Yeah,
salary, but they have
yeah.
no real vision and focus for the
Yes.
economy. We are still operating in
That is very
2025
true.
with promises that have been made since 1960 before me they are banned. You are telling me? And
Yeah.
now I am in 2025. We are still operating on old policies that is over 40 years old. That is
Yes,
crazy. Can't make
crazy.
sense.
Lyndon, Lyndon, did you get a chance to peruse the PNM's manifesto? Because I did.
Oh,
And there
you know,
No, because I
uh,
wanted to see what they're saying. But there is something wrong with those people because there is a disconnect between what the manifesto is saying and the country that we are living in. You would think that the manifesto that they have put out is for Finland. You would think that the manifesto that they put out is for a country that works and is developed, and they are now looking, how can we get better? How can we progress? Right? The manifesto is not even addressing the people's needs. And I am all about You cannot build a top heavy structure, right? You cannot, we always talk about in psychology, what Maslow's theory of needs.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yes, because you cannot tell people that, oh, talk about self altruism and all these things, and people don't have shoes and they don't have food and they don't have water. If anybody has a
Exactly.
chance to peruse it, I'm not promoting it, but I just want you to see how they are not even connected to what is happening to the everyday man and woman, right?
Let me
You would think that we have first world education and first world medical services and all of that. The way that this manifesto, and I was like, who was this written for? For the 1% in Westmoreland, who the
Had to
country
be.
works for like that, because they have the money to have access to things like this. But this manifesto was not for me. It did not speak to me in any way.
let me say this to you. I try to use my time very wisely. And I am saying, if you have five manifestos where your own policies have not been met, I'm not going to read a sixth one.
Yes.
We
Well
told
said.
Trinidad and Tobagonians that Vision 2020 was supposed to be the transformation of people who are going to go back to school and be educated, and from that would create jobs. In 2025, we have more persons we have a more population of overpopulation and
Understood.
underpopulation. We have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
university students who are coming out with masters and bachelors, and they cannot find a job to pay them within their salary means.
Yes.
We have a
Yes.
Yes.
system where employers do not want to pay persons at their range where they are earning, where they have
Yes.
both masters and
Yes.
bachelors. So that's now
Yeah.
causing persons who are supposed to stay in the country to get up and go outside and seek betterment,
Yes.
when the
Yes.
gate program was
Exactly.
supposed to ensure that once the
Yes.
government pays for you, that you are going to stay back in the country and serve the government and they will provide to you jobs. That
Yes.
program failed miserably because they
Yes.
did not think out that thought process and plan to ensure that after you have 200, 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 persons coming out to school with degrees, that there are
Every year.
jobs waiting for them
Yes.
on the line to serve. In we have people right now who have bachelors and masters and barely making $20, $25, barely
It
earning
is
I know.
true.
$10,000 as a
It is
salary.
true.
So
Mm.
I'm saying they did not think out this process properly. At this point in
No.
time, I'm saying the People's National Movement do not have a plan for 5 years. That manifesto you read was just a showboating to tell people, yeah, we have a policy. But it was not done based on real credible research. It was not
No.
done based on
No.
real statistics. It was not done based on looking at the failures of our model to see where we want to go. You see, people talk about fintech. Let me tell you something. We cannot begin to talk about fintech when you have a banking sector that still cannot identify that how money is being laundered through their banks every week.
Yeah.
We can't talk
Yes.
Yes.
Finland policy when you have a central government and a central bank that does not have the necessary policy to properly oversee the insights of these banks and ensure that these banks are operating with first world international best standard practice. And I who don't have
Yeah.
2 degrees to mining could say that because we
Yes.
are in their system and we are seeing their failed policies every day. Now my question is, where the people who have the bachelor's and the master's degree, they're not seeing this problem. They're not realizing that
Yeah.
there are 4 or 5 banks probably in Trinidad and Tobago right now, that there are criminal entities who know the system and the fail of the system, and they could come and clean their money in the banking sector because I simply have an
Yeah.
online business and my money could pass through. We are not operating on that kind of real policy. So how you could
No.
talk about the Finland policy when you still can't even adapt to the American standard international policy? It's crazy.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Most importantly,
It
Yeah.
is.
why in
It is.
2025
Yeah.
why in 2025 are we still directly telling people, if it's your desire to open a bank account, that you had to run through the hell with fire before you can be able to open a regular savings account. Businessmen like me who are operating in one of the most highest restricted business practice, I cannot even get a bank account in Trinidad. No bank wants to touch us because their policy is saying this is the reason why you probably cannot have a bank account. But the all of them who sit in now and they say they are part of the Bankers Association and the Financial Ombudsman and the Central Bank, they are giving you one narrative. But the policy don't work. We just closed down. Let the People's National Movement come and tell why did they close over 60,000 black-owned businesses in Trinidad and Tobago when they are
Yes.
having
Yes.
a problem when we just came out of COVID-19. A lot of people not
Okay.
Yes.
realizing these are the reasons why we are going to the poll. Because if
Yes.
you are
Yes.
saying the world was in a recession, then we came and we had a
Yes.
pandemic according to them, then the Minister
Yes.
of Finance back then should have created an ease to ratio policy that allows you from ease to operational to get you back into the system. Even the American
Yes.
government were creating plans to ensure that if your
Yes.
business cuts, you would have had a way to be able to have a stimulus package to ensure that you could be able to go back and function again. What did this government
Yes.
do? We went and we took their money and we don't even know what the money was used for in terms of proper accountability measures from the time they told the nation we had a pandemic. But most importantly, let me put it on the record. And I want to say this because it needs to be said. Trinidad and Tobago did not have to be where the world was for this pandemic. You know why?
That's right.
Senator Wade Mark is on the Hansard going to the parliament in 2019 to tell the parliament there is an international outbreak. And what did
Yes.
they told him? They told them it
Yeah.
was not a matter of concern.
It,
So we
It
no.
is.
had a time to plan and
It is
prepare.
true.
We didn't do that
That's
It is
right.
true.
because the carnival was more important. So when you
Yes.
look at the
Yes.
things, it showed you that they were not in preparation. They were
But this
not.
is how they treat with everything, Lyndon, because when concerns were raised about you continuing to do business with Venezuela, Camille jump up and ball, what Trump go do we?
So it
But most
shows us
importantly,
that
but more,
they are aware. They are in
yeah.
government. They must be aware of all these things. But you know what? It tells you that they don't care. As long as their pocket is full and they are in control, they don't care. What Trump will do, we seeing now what Trump doing to us. So we need to get it fixed. And certainly they cannot fix it. It will take a UNC government to come into power and to fix the damages that they have created. And wait, listen, the last 10 years before, 15 years before, it was the same thing when Kamala Prasad Bisesa through the UNC and the coalitions of government came together, persons came together to fix the damages that the PNM did. Okay? And in 5 years, when the country started to become sustainable again, they come up with email gate and they come up with all the junk and the BS,
Yes.
and people fall for that crap. Put back this PNM government. And now we are
Yeah.
reaping what we sow. We eating the bread
But
the
we
devil
Literally
need
eating
because
bread double
they
meat.
listen. And it's the same
didn't
thing
they
now.
not?
Kamala has to come back
Didn't
and
they?
fix.
Didn't they not tell the country that when Kamala Prasad Bisesa, when they went into 2015, that they met no money in the treasury? This is
Yes.
what they were
Oh,
telling
they
citizens.
said
Yes.
it.
This is what they were telling citizens. Do we have people on record all on TikTok saying that when the government went in there after 2015, that the
And have
Honorable
no
Kamala
money.
Prasad Bisesa left no money in the treasury? But this is why
None.
I'm saying there's a problem with the way we process information. Now, my question is,
That's
and
right.
I said it's total ludicrous because if the country has no money, then it's automatically we are broke. But citizens are paying taxes every year. Most importantly, they went on by saying they want to bring back the property tax. Even right now, all these property evaluators who they said they went inside to send property evaluators. We have Saddam Hussein, Saddam Hussein. What's his name? This guy from Barataria. Is Saddam
Saddam
the
Hussein.
minister?
Yeah.
Saddam Hussein.
Saddam is on record telling the parliament that when they look at the way they were valuing the properties, it became a problem. And now all these people are going to have to revalue their properties again. But my question brings now to the narrative. If I paid you for in 2014 my money for buying a house, I build it up, give you taxes, and you're telling me now you want to implement an Americanized system that says I have to pay you for the property that I own. What is the value of service in money that you are bringing back to me as a taxpayer? Because I can't pay your money for a property that is mine, assets that is mine, and I paying you a tax for it because you are the government saying you want a tax, and then you're not giving me value for service. That's ludicrous.
Hmm.
Tell me directly why am I paying you property taxes for properties that I own? I am saying we need to move away from that model. That model is not a Trinidad and Tobago model. It has not allowed Trinidad and Tobagonians. That's more burdensome. And we have to be able to stand up for
Yeah.
that right and say, we don't want property tax. That's not our right. You can't charge me for directly giving you a tax for
Especially
the
a
house I
property
own.
that
It
you didn't
belongs
give
to
me any
me.
subventions for, or you didn't make any you didn't make anything possible for me to own this property anyway.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. And I'm saying, is it that you're offering me value for service? Because I could tell you right now, tonight by 10 o'clock, if some of them ain't sleeping already, we have members of the Trinidad and Tobago police service in stations tonight that are going to be sleeping, but criminals are going to be on the streets patrolling. And then we come to
Yes.
tell Trinidad and Tobagonians, we defending your honor, we defending you, we have been protecting you.
Oh,
It
please.
can't make sense. Somebody have to make it make
Fitzgerald
sense to
Hines
me.
said it was
And
not his job to make us feel safe. Lies.
ah, well said. Well said. So I'm saying these are the problems that we see. These are the reasons why we are going to the polls, being informed. We saw a government that tried to tell citizens at Trinidad and Tobago, go and take a COVID-19 vaccine that was never approved and lie to them and tell them it is under emergency use
Yes.
authorization. Now in
Yes.
2025, we are seeing the same companies are being sued. Even today, we are now seeing
Yes.
that we are seeing a lawsuit being implemented right here in Trinidad and Tobago because why? A
Yes.
husband is now suing the Trinidad and Tobago government
Yes.
for not
Yes.
informing the public of the dangers of this fake
Of the
false vaccine that
dangers.
they was telling citizens. And we were online telling citizens, do not take this
Do not
drug.
take it.
You don't
Yes.
know what's going to happen to your
Yes.
long-term effects.
Well
There
said.
is no insurance company in Trinidad and Tobago that is going to pay you knowing that you have taken something into your system that could affect the policy in the morning. Fitzgerald Hayes is on record telling the nation that we are promoting propaganda and they have to deal with the
Yes.
problem of us. Now we have a mother today who should be alive, who should be in her right mind and well. She ended up committing suicide because she realized she was now a burden to the she family because the government told the nation
Yes.
the vaccines are 80% safe. They won't come and talk them things.
Yes.
We
Yes.
need to remember why
Lyndon.
we are going to the polls.
Lyndon, so true, so true. Let us not forget how they treated us. They called it a pandemic of the unvaccinated, and we were not able to go to restaurants. Right? You were locked out. You could not go anywhere and do anything unless. And then they threatened your
Exactly.
job. They told people if
Yeah.
you don't get vaccinated. They started by saying that it was not mandatory. They lied. They
Yes.
come back and they said if
Yes.
you're not vaccinated, then you can lose your job, right? And people took
Yes.
it under
They said
duress
vaccinate to operate.
because people could not afford to not have income, to not have a salary. And a lot of people
They
took it
said
under
vaccinate to
duress. Esther,
operate. That was the mandate.
Was out for a minute.
yeah,
Wasn't hearing
it's
anything.
crazy. Let us not
Yeah.
forget that this entire PNM government is a charade. It is a smoke show. The same Saddam
Yeah.
Hussein, right? He was invited to the reopening of St. George's College, right? And he
Right.
took videos because it was not done. And he challenged Minister of Education Dolly. How could you reopen the school when it is not ready for the students? And they are doing the same thing
Operations.
now. They are calling them practical openings, right? What practical openings, and they having big fanfare and spending millions of dollars opening the Tobago airport and opening the Port of Spain General Hospital, and they are not completed, spending more and more of our money, fooling people into thinking that after 10 years we have performed, and they have not, because the hospital is not ready to receive any patients. There's no equipment.
None.
They always do everything half-ass. Let us not be
Listen,
fooled.
we must not be fooled, and we want to give uh, our public viewing, our people, the opportunity to call in. I know a lot of us have
Mm-hmm.
comments. Keep it professional, keep it respectful. The number to call is 282-4798. 282-4798. You're going to see it on the screen. You can call in and make a comment or share what you're feeling and what you're going to be doing. All right? Because this is not about just us, it's about Trinidad and Tobago. We have suffered enough. And I want to say this, if we don't wake up and make a change, we're going to eat. I keep saying it, the bread the devil need and what
Bread
he
the
don't
devil
need as
need.
well.
Yes,
What he don't need too, which is worse. Okay? So you have the opportunity to call 282-4798. Call us live and share with us. Understand, share your comments. What are your thoughts? What is happening? Who are you supporting this time around? Are you going to go back supporting the PNM? We don't need any explanation. If you're going to support them, you're going to support them. You know why and you have your reason. But I could never understand under the circumstance persons who want to support this PNM government under Stuart Young because it's the
But
same old nonsense.
I
It's the same old
remember
nonsense.
I remember the People's National Movement representative, Shomari Hector, stood on a platform and tell Tobago people and tell Trinidad people that I am standing on the good authority by God, and I am telling you that there are people in the People's National Movement that is working obia and is working necromancy. I remember
necromancy.
him
Hmm.
saying
Yeah,
that, and I'm
Yes,
saying
yeah,
when you listen to these confessions, don't take them lightly. He said it
no.
out of his own mouth. The,
Oh, that's right.
Stuart Young went on and said directly that he saw the prices of food raising, and people could no longer afford to buy this and could no longer afford to buy
Under
that.
who
And I'm
watch?
saying,
Under who
and
watch?
I'm
Hey,
saying, and this is what I'm saying, they are making all the necessary confessions blatantly open to citizens,
yes,
and
yes,
people need to take it as what it is. They are literally
yes,
confessing in front of your face because they don't want to go back
yeah,
there another 5 years. They cannot
yeah.
yeah,
handle Donald Trump. That's the reason they want the opposition to come and clean up the mess. And I am saying it right here on the same authority of God. They don't want to go back there another 5 years. They don't want to go back there.
Well, maybe you're right, Lyndon, because if Stuart Young could stand up on a platform and say his government didn't close down Petrotrade, they're crazy. Well, then, which government closed down Petrotrade? You may
Hmm.
not have been the minister, but you were a part of that government. So what it
But
is,
I'll
a
tell,
right?
ghost.
Then
I'll
you're
tell,
talking
I'll,
about a command center. You're now talking about a command center under security. What is wrong with these people? 9 years, you didn't think about doing that. You were in government. You wasn't the prime minister, but you were acting many times and you were calling the shots. So what now?
Mm,
yeah, these are just empty promises, and a lot of people are only there. Let me tell you, this is the first time in history I have never seen the People's National Movement have a major family day, and their national, they normally have a family day and a national convention. Have you seen any People's National Movement convention since
No
we went?
convention,
They have not, because they're not interested in winning no elections. You don't
no
ever directly
convention. We
put
had a
out the people who
baptism
stood there.
of a prime minister. No convention where you have ever seen that. They baptize a prime minister, put him in
I
place.
am. I mean, Linda talked before about phobia and necromancy. I mean, I will not doubt that they, do certain things to whatever, but I always was baffled by the only way I could describe it is the spell that PNM supporters seem to be under, right? And I always wonder what actually is happening at their rallies when they're actually not talking policy, but it's only a set of music and dancing and sweeping time, almost like they're trying to get the people under a spell. That aside, I think the spell is broken. I think it is lifted. I think people's eyes are definitely opening, right? And like I mentioned on the show last week, there's no way that you can call the UNC, right, an Indian party anymore if you look at the composition of the crowds, of the people who are going to the house meetings and things like that, the cottage meetings, and who are showing up at the rallies and whatnot. There are people who look like you and me who are fed up, who are saying that I don't care what my grandmother used to do, what my parents used to do. I am making a decision for myself and for my family and for my future. There are people who are coming with receipts, right? They are showing you, I have nothing to show for the last 10 years. It has been hard, it has been burdensome. And the thing about it is, our citizens demand so little. The people only
Hmm.
wanted to feel safe in their homes and community. They wanted to be able to afford food, right? They wanted to be able to they wanted to be able to, if they wanted to go on a little vacation, that they could have the extra money to do it. But what we were met with is banks becoming more and more rigid, making things more and more difficult. You can't even get roads paved in your area, right? Your car going on in pothole, you're finding yourself in more expense. You're scared to go out at night because it have all these demons roaming the country. People have asked for very little of the PNM and they could not have even delivered
They could
that.
not. That's
And
right.
people
And
are
But
the thing
saying
about it,
no more.
always
you know,
always
you, you,
remember this. Once the PNM is in power, the 1% is in power. And they do not want us to have a good life. The masses of people, like you said, do not ask for much. They want to have
Yeah.
food on the table. They ain't
Yes.
even want no big house. They're content with, making sure that they can provide for their families. And like you said, the upper class to that would say, well, I want to go on a vacation. The people on
Yeah.
the ground in concern about vacation. Once they have food, they could go and buy the KFC, they could go and buy the Royal Castle, the chicken, whatever. They are at that level, and those are the people who go and vote. But they don't even care. The PNM comes for their vote and then they slap them up in the face, like you said earlier on, a bad relationship. And you have all these clowns out here who talking about the UNC and the UNC. Those same people testify that when UNC was in power under Kamala Prasad Visesa, they had food on their
does
table.
even
They were able to send their
exactly.
Yeah.
children to school. And that is what it is all about. It's not like us who have other ambition. The masses of people don't have this kind of ambition to travel and to have a big, they buy a little, what we used to call it long time ago, junkie ride. Then once it could take them from point A to point B. No, let's be real, because I've been in
It's
trenches.
true.
And I tell you,
It's true.
once they can afford
It's true.
a certain level of life, they're okay. But
Yeah.
even that, they have not been able to
It's
get
true.
under this PNM government. So come on, vote
No,
them
No.
they
out.
want to tell you.
No. It's
They
true.
want to tell you,
It's true.
go back to the coal pot. That's my. That's
Uh-huh.
that's
Yes.
my. That's my. That's my
Yes.
my solution.
Don't
Go back to the
don't
coal.
make
Uh-huh.
macaroni
Imagine
pie.
a
Don't make
minister
macaroni pie. Yes.
who drives a luxury vehicle that many
You are,
Yes.
citizens
uh,
will never be
listen,
able
Yes.
to
we
own
want
and
people to call
afford.
in. The
Yes.
number to call
Is
is 282-4798. I know this is a first time, but viewers know that you can call in 282 four
Yes.
seven nine eight. If you have a comment, if you have a suggestion, whatever, call in and let us hear tonight. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling?
Indeed. I mean, Kit Rowley say how all they say, all he hearing is nenge 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 nenge, and all they talking
Oh,
about is crime, crime, crime,
bang,
crime,
bang, bang,
crime.
bang,
Like,
bang.
yeah, like if Trinidad don't have any other problems, but
but that is what it
we
was.
saying we saying crime, 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 crime because crime has affected every aspect of our
Every,
lives.
that's
People who
it.
have businesses have people come in and telling them they have to pay money for protection, right? And
Yeah,
stealing their money, taking kidnapping them and holding them for ransom. right? You cannot go out, and if you want to go and jog, you could, but you're doing it at a risk,
At a
right?
risk.
Crime has affected us. Everybody
But
living like
not,
in their houses like it's
Hadassah,
jail.
not you talking about one part. What about the small business? You have to pay these
Yes,
bullies. You cannot
yes,
conduct your business unless you pay them. You're renting a
yes,
spot. You're setting up your business and you cannot operate unless you pay them. And some of the police officers are involved in it. So what it is
yeah,
he want us to do? You
yeah,
can't do
yeah,
anything in this country. Crime is all
yeah,
over
Um,
in every aspect.
yes,
I'm going to say
yes,
this. I'm literally going to say this. The time has come for all citizens to look into their national safety. I've been saying it. There is a very high grievance statistics that are showing now that our women who are most vulnerable are coming under the highest form of murders in Trinidad and Tobago. And
yes,
this is
Yes,
the
yes,
problem here is when we have a central statistics office that is running on autopilot and don't have the funding to do the work they are supposed to do. Citizens have
yes,
now a situation where they have to defend themselves. You cannot depend on the police, and I'm saying you cannot depend on the police, and I'm saying you cannot depend on the police in real time to defend you when you have an
no,
emergency situation in your
no,
home. I am
that's right.
no,
saying
it's
it
true.
because we have
It is
realized
true.
the Ministry of National Security is not operating the way they're supposed to operate. And I have sat
Yes,
down many
they
times,
have
I've
crippled
said,
them.
isn't
Yes,
this isn't this not the level of class action lawsuit that should allow 100 of us, 500 of us to get up and
yes,
sue the backside because at the end of the
yes,
day, you have a
yes,
defunct police service that is not operating
yes,
24/7 and you are not
yes,
providing the measure of adequate protection in real time? Is it
yes,
not
Yeah.
the time where we're supposed to be able to get up and do that? We have our borders that are now more open than ever, and our coast guard that is sleeping sound in the night when
yes,
people are traveling on our waters to bring guns,
yes,
drugs, and ammunition to our shores. This is the
yes,
problem. But most importantly, the fact of it is we have to know as taxpayers, when they are squandering our money, we as the taxpayers have to get up now and pay back the burden of what they are directly doing. And I'll give you a typical example. They went and moved our debt ratio when they went and we borrowed money from the Chinese at
yes,
$2.249 billion and raised that debt to
that's, yes,
$6.2 billion. Now, my question
Mm.
is,
yes,
what did we do with $4 billion? And are we
yeah,
paying back that money? Because we have a Phoenix Park in Trinidad right now that is that can't say for the last 3 quarters, or for the last 4, or for the last 5 quarters that they are operating on a surplus budget. We have a Phoenix Park that we went and borrowed money to build that cannot
Yes.
even tell a regular Trinidad and Tobagonian that if I want to set up a manufacturing company, I'm giving you 5 years to get yourself up operational so you can be able to export and do these things. We are not seeing that.
Nothing.
And because of
Nothing.
it, we now have to find our way to pay back that debt. And the way it is
Mm-hmm.
going to become burdensome on Trinidad and Tobagonians, we are going to have to sacrifice more of the people of
yes,
the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago assets and
yes,
minerals to give the People's Republic of China because we have government ministers who are not seriously thinking all these plans to ensure that these models can ensure that the Phoenix Park is built for 100 people. There are 100 people there now operating, and we give them 5 years to get themselves operational and they can be able to export. This government has no
They're
real
not
plan.
about
And
the
when you look at it,
citizens'
they have
well-being.
no
no,
plan.
They are not
yeah,
about the citizens' well-being. That is what this
yeah,
government, this PNM government, is about. They're about bringing Sanders to Tobago to fill their pockets again. They're about doing
yeah,
everything to put pressure on the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. They don't care about our well-being, our welfare,
yeah,
And Trinidadians need to understand that. The citizens need
Yeah.
to know that and stop being blindfolded and not understanding what is happening and going to those stupid meetings and clapping where you don't even know that they're cursing you, they're blighting you, but you're yeah and clap. I am hearing, just imagine Stuart Young talking about a command center. Lyndon talk about the Coast Guard sleeping. They have nothing to work with. So sleep. You have no equipment. You have nothing to work with. So what you will do, if I
It's
sit down here and
crazy.
I have nothing to work with, I would fall asleep. So that is the
But
state of our
that's
country
crazy.
today
That's crazy.
under the
And this is the
PNF
reason why
government.
we had an oil spill sometime last year or year before last year. They still can't find the perpetrators. Let me tell you something. I want to bet part of the reason we lost this drug and gas deal is that illegal oil that was passing on Trinidad and Tobago waters that they still can't find the culprits for. And I ask the government,
Yeah.
let's tell you, they cannot find the people who operated that equipment in our waters. This secret
Yeah.
meeting that we had with Delcy
Lyndon, I
Rodriguez.
don't agree with that. They knew, but all of that is a cover because they were part of it. They
Yeah.
knew. You trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Come on, man. We're not
Yeah.
stupid. It might have people who stupid, but we're not. We are intelligent people here. They knew.
All of that to
They just
say
I
is
think we're
that
agree.
stupid.
I
has
agree.
not been
I agree.
acting on our behalf, right? They
I
have
agree.
become a cancer, as somebody said in the comments. PNM is a cancer, and the corruption has metastasized, and that is why
Yes.
everything feels like if it is a runaway train, right? And it feels like if certain people are untouchable, and it feels like if our law is impotent because it doesn't seem to
Yeah.
have any teeth, right? To bring people to justice and things like that, right? But we need to
No,
put
but
a
they're only
stop
bring
to
the
it.
people on the ground to justice. The
Let
poor
me say
man,
this.
they know how to bring them to justice.
I'm gonna tell you the problem in this country. Corruption and white collar crime is a crime we do not address at the top.
We
Just
don't.
Yeah,
last year, just last year, we had a situation with a particular oil company in Trinidad where Pete Phillip went missing. Pete Phillip is never going to be found. And they told the nation that the company is going to launch an operation by either February or March to recover Pete Phillip, who is the father of 4 or 5 children or one on the way still, and
I
he's
remember
never
we
going to be
call that.
found. And they
Yeah.
never directly did anything for this
Anything.
man to
Never.
ensure that this family could be at ease. And I'm saying that's one
yeah,
family. When you look at
yeah,
this situation that we have in Trinidad and Tobago, I'm telling you, enough people hands getting grease in brown bag for the purpose of money, and they are not doing their jobs. Let me tell you something. Oil rigs don't
yeah,
just fall along in Trinidad.
That's
Oil
right.
rigs do
yeah,
not just fall down in the sea.
Hmm.
Somebody have to not be doing their work. And when you have a ministry of energy that is not interested in our human capital development, where companies could be
yeah,
operating, but you have no real plan to ensure that we people who going out there into the sea to ensure that we can produce could be safe and to know that they could come back home to their family. You know that this government has no real plan and policy in place because their friends are getting grease, they're making their money and then getting a cut from it. That is the way Trinidad and
Okay,
Tobago is
we have
operating.
someone who sent a video, audio actually. So let's listen to hear what that person has said on that audio. Go right ahead, producer.
Hi, good night. Just a quick question I wanted to ask. During COVID, I can't remember the exact year, but when the plane came from Venezuela and we
yes,
was locked down, all the borders and thing, and the plane came from Venezuela. I think I can't remember her name, Delcy or whoever it was.
Delcy, yes.
Yeah, just like somebody can enlighten me with that, and you know.
Well, well,
find
to
out
be
what
honest with you,
really went
Paula,
on because up till
to,
today, none of the citizens of Trinidad know what went on.
Hmm.
With
well, to
that
be honest with you,
plane
Paula,
came and land and
Yes, sir.
nothing. So,
Okay.
just
well, to that caller. the information that they gave the citizens is that they came here under the issue of COVID-19 operations. And I'm saying I don't believe that narrative, because you could not tell me that the government of Venezuela had any level of operations in Trinidad and Tobago, that they had to come into Trinidad and Tobago to discuss COVID-19 operations in Trinidad and Tobago. We are of the belief that, see, these meetings were done in secret. There is no record, there is no memorandum of understanding, there is no form of brief that shows us what did the government of Trinidad and Tobago did and what meetings they held with the Venezuelan government. And we have to also remember that at that time, there was an international sanction placed on the Maduro government. Now, because of these
Yes.
things, when you are operating illegally, this is part of the actions formed against us. Now, why our OFC license has been pulled,
That's
and the other
yeah.
license they had has been pulled. I am saying it bold on this live. That's the claim I am making. If there is
Yes.
something contradictory to that narrative, then let the record show from the facts and let them say to the nation why that situation. But I am saying the Prime Minister, the then Prime Minister, knew that they were going to pull that license. Then he knew it. He came out and he warned the public. He told the
Yes.
nation,
He knew.
if you wake up one morning and you hear your license get pulled, you no longer have that license. You're cuckoo cook.
You're
You're
And
cuckoo.
cuckoo.
I
That's
literally didn't I didn't
Lyndon,
directly yeah.
let us also not forget that at the time our borders were closed, so that
that's right.
flights could only land with the explicit permission of the then National Security Minister, who was Stuart Young. And Stuart Young was
Exactly.
lying to us. And the first thing is he said is that he had no knowledge of it. And then he said there were only two people on the flight, only to come to realize that he had the manifest and it was about nine people on the flight who came to have discussions, and all of it was being um, withheld from us. And the only reason that we knew about it is somebody saw the plane coming in and took a video and say, "What plane is this landing in our
And,
country?"
and, and
Hmm.
And
let
our
us
border closed.
remember, let us come again. This is what the PNM does, lies upon lies, because the Prime Minister himself, he said that he didn't know anything about who was coming. So you're trying to tell me a aircraft is coming to your country and the Prime Minister, National Security didn't know. And then when they did know, they only had two-person. And then we found out it was more than two-person. Listen, this
Yeah.
is the Jesus. Let us please do not act as though we are foolish citizens. Let us teach this government under the PNM a lesson, because they think all of us is a bunch of fools they have in this country. Okay? They think we are foolish. But we were waiting for this moment, Stuart Young and Rowley and all of you all. We have been waiting.
Yes.
And now that the
Yes.
moment have reached Trinidad and Tobago, please do the needful. Let us show them who we are, because the authority and power is in this finger. Let us show them who we are and what we are going to do. Our time has gone. Okay? But this will continue, Lyndon, if you want to be a part of this conversation, probably midweek, maybe Wednesday or so, let me know so that we
Yes.
would include you. But we need to continue educating the citizens as we go back to the polls. We cannot allow them to go with doubt. They must go there confident that, hey, we're not going to put our X in for the PNM. It's going to be
Well,
for the
thank you for having me.
UNC. You're most
Thank you for
welcome
having
and
me.
thank you
You
for
have a good
coming on.
night.
Have a
Bye.
great
All right. Good
night.
night.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Be safe. Be safe in Tobago. Yes, Hadassah. So we want to wrap up now. What are your
Yes.
last comment for the night?
I'm really glad that Lyndon came on because he has a way, he always comes with an encyclopedia of information and
Yes,
always has a lot of perspective to remind people of all the ways that the PNM has not been acting in our interests. You know,
that's
I'm
right.
really, really happy to see the level of discussion as well that is going on in the chat. I mean, people are they're so excited. There are so many comments. I can't get to everybody, but I just want to tell everybody thank you so much for spending this last hour and a half or so with us. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate you participating in this process because Trinidad is your country. Too, you have a right to dictate how our tax dollars are spent. You have a right to dictate who is actually put there to steward our country. Um, Interesting conversation as usual. I feel again still very happy and still very excited to be just a part of this moment because I don't think the PNM would ever be the same again. They might continue to exist, they will continue to hobble along, but it will never be the quote unquote formidable party that it has appeared to be because, like I said before, the spell is broken and people expect and they demand and they want more from the people who are holding the purse, our national purse, right? So I feel it is important to tell people to not have any fear, but also be diligent. You know, even
Yes,
when you go to the polls, look out for any discrepancies. Make sure you can get to somebody in your constituency to raise the alarm because we are not letting them steal this election.
this,
Lyndon
that's
is
right.
convinced that the PNM does not want to win this election, but I also feel that there are enough skeletons in the closet that they don't want UNC to go in there to take a look at the nonsense that they have been doing it and calling it
That's right.
governance on our behalf, right?
That's right.
So yeah, this is where we are, and I'm just really happy with the show tonight. I think it went really
I am
well.
excited. Yellow is the code. Denise is saying, our friend Denise, good night, Denise from the US. So quick. Yes, Denise, it has been an hour and more than an hour and a half. Oh gosh, Denise, we missed you a lot, but thank you for joining in and sharing. But it is what it is right now. The people are fed up. Every time you go on,
Denise was making mischief. Eh? She was making mischief in the chat talking about she have her coal pot and she love it.
well, I think we all, those of us who grew up with the coal pot, nothing is wrong with that. If you have it and you can use it because it gives you the best food, the best
Yeah,
coconut
she's
bake,
cook
but
outside.
you cannot
Yes,
want to
yes,
deprive people of other things and talk about going back to coal, but because of the
yes,
economy that you all have destroyed,
yes,
no, it shouldn't be like that. It should be that I choose to go back to the coal pot, but it shouldn't be a demand that this is what you all have to do and ride bicycle. Foolishness in this 20th century. You as a minister can't be talking those kind of foolishness to the citizens, okay? And I am convinced that the PNM never really cares about the citizen of this country. They care about, you hear it before, their friends and their financiers and their family and whoever they rub shoulders with. And nothing is wrong with that. But the broader spectrum is you have to be concerned about the rest of the citizens and their well-being and their welfare. Nothing is wrong
yes.
when people talk about who thief, and you will always have that. I feel if I was the Prime Minister, Hadassah, I would want to fix my family too. I might try to get a little something on the side for betterment, but at the end of the day, everybody must be a part of it. You can't want to take the whole lump sum and have people suffering, and now you're all coming back to our homes to ask for support for the PNM.
Yeah,
Never, not even over my
yeah,
dead body. But the truth is, yellow is the code. Who don't like it, who don't want it, good for you. Go ahead and do what you have to do. If you haven't been suffering, like I said before, then you are cool. Those of you who are enjoying whatever you are enjoying, nice. But the masses of the people are suffering up to this week. I have a list, so that's 28 persons for hampers. I tried all the time last week. I gave out so much hampers.
yeah,
People are suffering. They cannot put food on the table for their children. And that is
yeah,
the worst
yeah,
thing any parent could ever encounter, where you cannot put
yeah,
food on the table for your children. And when you have teenagers, they fall into the wrong hand. So let's steer it, and they who pretend not to know what is going on in this country, who now figure out that food prices is so high. By whom? It was him. Kamala took off the tax from food prices. They put it back on. Listen, Kamala allow
they put back
pensioners to have
everything.
an age of
Yeah,
60 to get pension. They take it back to 65. Who is causing
65.
the
Yes,
people pain and suffering in
Yeah.
this country, this government, under
Yeah.
the PNM, under Rowley, and now Stuart, and Stuart is no better. All that he given now before the election, he gonna take it back and much more. If you all take God out of your
Yes.
thoughts and put them back in power, he is gonna take back every single thing that he has given to you because they don't care
Yeah.
about the citizens
Yeah.
on the ground. So
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
we're going to be back midweek, and then we're going to be back next week Sunday. We have to decide which day in midweek. I will consult with my co-host, and we would send out the message. But listen, be prepared. Be prepared, but please stay calm. We don't want no fighting and no pulling down because they don't fight, they just fight money. The citizens on the ground, sweethearts, you all just go and do your thing. Whether you want to vote for the PNM or you want to vote for the UNC, just go and do that. But those of you who are voting yellow is the code, I am saying get up Monday, the 28th of April. As long as there's breath in your body, in your lungs, get up, give God thanks, take a shower, and head out to the polls. Do not wait. And if there's anyone you can assist in your community, do that. Let us be kind on that day. Our political leader said, take the day to rest and reflect after you have voted. Go and vote and then sit down, relax, cook some food if you have anything to cook, whatever it is. If you could find where I am, yes, I will share my food that I'm cooking. A cooking pilau. You understand? It's the easiest food to cook on that
Yes.
day. And I am going to be relaxing. May God bless all of us.
Yes.
May He bless the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Cover us under the blood of Jesus. We need the covering right now. Those criminal-minded
Yes.
ones who are trying to, we have someone who is there with us. We are actually wrapping up. But could we
How is this
entertain this
happening?
sister?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
You're not coming through clear.
as
It's
you're
not coming through
wrapping
clear.
up in truth, as you're wrapping up, Vexa coming this lead. But it was a very interesting conversation here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And we
Hello?
look forward to seeing you in the week. You kind of
Hello?
breaking up. We're kind of breaking up. But we look forward to seeing you probably next week, Sunday. You can come in earlier and have a conversation because we are not hearing you clearly. It's breaking up. But we want to
We've
thank
had
you.
a lot of bloggers and influencers on the thread tonight. So we want to say thank you for coming on. Please share it with your audience. We need all the help that we can get to push the message on to the
That's
masses. So thank you, Nick, Jaikaran, and others. Thank you so much. I saw Akil Chambers was on and different people. Of course, special thanks again to Lyndon Mack. And we are going to be here, like Esther said, again in the week, maybe Wednesday. We're going to make it happen. And again next Sunday. And we might probably do something on election day as well.
Yes.
We're going to keep this
Yes.
momentum going.
So God bless you all. Be safe. Stay safe. Let's do this. Hallelujah. I'm shouting.
Put them out. Get
Put
them
them
out.
out.
Don't play mad. For 10 years we had it hard.
It's time for we to rise up again. We say hello, we say gold. Too many years we've been suffering. We say hello, we say gold. Yellow is the code, yellow is the code. Put your ex body right in sun. Yellow is the code, yellow is the code. You went to the chosen ones. Yellow is the code, yellow is the code. Roll it to what feel we done. When you and see win,
Everybody win. Come meet them. I this ship you and I go beat them. Trinidad we in problems. Time to stop them. You better watch them.